So you're thinking about jumping into One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 in 2025. Yeah, the game came out years ago, but it refuses to die. The question now is simple. Is this thing still worth playing? First off, the combat. This is a Musou game, so expect to be mashing buttons, clearing hundreds of enemies at once, and feeling like an unstoppable pirate on a sugar rush. It doesn't pretend to be a deep RPG or a complex strategy game. You get big, flashy combos, over-the-top special moves, and hordes of cannon fodder enemies to absolutely obliterate. The roster is massive, and that's one of the game's biggest hooks. Characters from nearly every arc in the One Piece story are playable, each with their own unique movesets. You've got your classics, your fan favorites, and even a few surprises. If collecting and trying out characters is your thing, there's enough here to keep your fingers busy for hours. And yes, there's been plenty of DLC over the years, so the roster just keeps getting bigger. The game does a decent job of recreating key moments from the One Piece story, though it's not exactly a narrative masterpiece. Think of it like highlights on fast forward. The important beats are there, the iconic fights are included, but if you were hoping to relive the manga or anime in full detail, you might be a little disappointed. Some emotional moments get lost in translation because the focus is firmly on action. That said, if you just want to experience the story through fights and dramatic cutscenes, it works. Boss battles stand out in particular. While the regular enemies are basically speed bumps, the bosses really make you pause and think. Well, not really think in a hardcore strategy sense, but at least pay attention for a second before mashing your combo buttons. They're flashy, fun, and true to the spirit of One Piece. Now, let's be honest about the negatives. This game can get repetitive. After a while, most missions feel like you're running around smashing enemies, collecting a few items, and triggering a cutscene. Some levels drag if you're playing back-to-back, and the grind can get noticeable, especially if you're aiming to unlock everything. The story, as mentioned, is compressed, and if you're someone who loves in-depth narrative, this might feel shallow. Another sticking point is the camera. In big, chaotic fights, it can sometimes feel like it has a mind of its own. Enemies spawn off screen, or you'll get stuck in the corner of a stage while trying to line up a combo. And depending on the platform, there have been some visual inconsistencies. But the 2025 next-gen updates have improved performance and visuals, so at least it's not the jagged mess it used to be. The game isn't exactly reinventing the Musou formula either. The systems and mission structure are familiar territory. You won't be blown away by revolutionary gameplay mechanics or deep progression trees. That said, if you enjoy the simple joy of running around as your favorite characters and obliterating waves of enemies, it doesn't really need to innovate to be fun. So who is this game for in 2025? If you're a One Piece fan, someone who's been dreaming of smacking enemies as Luffy or slicing through mobs as Zoro, this is probably worth it, especially with all the DLC and the free next-gen upgrade. The spectacle is still there, the roster is huge, and there's enough variety in bosses and special moves to keep things interesting. If you're looking for a deep, story-heavy experience or a game with strategic depth, this might not hit the mark. Missions can feel repetitive, and the storytelling, while serviceable, won't satisfy hardcore narrative seekers. So is One Piece Pirate Warriors 4 still worth playing in 2025? Honestly, if you enjoy big, chaotic battles, anime-style power trips, and a huge roster of One Piece characters, it still hits exactly the way it did at launch. The next-gen upgrades make the experience smoother, and the new characters add enough flavor to keep things fun. You just have to know what you're getting into. The core gameplay hasn't changed, and the missions repeat. The DLC costs more than some people think it should. And if you are hoping for brand new arcs or map expansions, those aren't here. But if you just want a fun, flashy, high-energy One Piece game where you jump into a battlefield and destroy everything in sight, it's still a blast. It's not a reinvention, it's not a reboot, it's the same chaotic ride with more polish and a few extra fighters. If you're thinking about hopping back in or joining for the first time, let me know what character you take into battle first. And if this review helped, drop a like, subscribe for more gaming breakdowns, and I'll see you in the next video.